As everyone knows, human mind is an enigma. The beliefs which you form inside your mind and keep lifelong may be right to you and may not be right to others at many other times. So your belief is right and his belief also is right. Trying to impose your beliefs on others may cause problems and ensues the killing of bin Laden. Welcome once again to News Analysis. News Analysis, a weekly magazine on current affairs. To begin with the main points in a nutshell. Topmost Alquaeda leader bin Laden got killed in a firefight. Barack Obama to visit Ground Zero. Libya contact group creates fund for rebels. Syria, raid in Damascus suburb as crackdown defied. 8 arrested in UP for stoning couple to death. Dorjee Khandu, body recovered from helicopter crash site. And now the news in detail. Topmost Alquaeda leader bin Laden got killed in a firefight. President Barack Obama has said publishing photos of the dead Osama bin Laden threatens U.S. national security. I think that given the graphic nature of these photos, it would create some national security risk, Mr. Obama said. The Al-Qaeda leader was killed by U.S. Special Forces in northern Pakistan on Monday. His body was buried at sea. On the Thursday, Mr. Obama is to visit the site of the 11 September 2001 attacks on New York, one of many bin Laden claimed to have masterminded. Mr. Obama said it's important for us to make sure that very graphic photos of somebody who was shot in the head are not floating around as an incitement to additional violence, as a propaganda tool. That's not who we are. The U.S. administration has been monitoring world reaction amid conspiracy theories about the Al-Qaeda leader following conflicting accounts given by U.S. officials. There are going to be some folks who deny it. The fact of the matter is, you won't see bin Laden walking on earth again, Mr. Obama said.
And so shortly after taking office, I directed Leon Panetta, the director of the CIA, to make the killing or capture of bin Laden the top priority of our war against al-Qaeda, even as we continued our broader efforts to disrupt, dismantle, and defeat his network. Then, last August, after years of painstaking work by our intelligence community, I was briefed on a possible lead to bin Laden. It was far from certain, and it took many months to run this thread to ground. I met repeatedly with my national security team as we developed more information about the possibility that we had located bin Laden hiding within a compound deep inside Pakistan. And finally, last week, I determined that we had enough intelligence to take action and authorized an operation to get Osama bin Laden and bring him to justice. Today, at my direction, the United States launched a targeted operation against that compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. A small team of Americans carried out the operation with extraordinary courage and capability. No Americans were harmed. They took care to avoid civilian casualties. After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body. For over 2 decades, bin Laden has been al-Qaeda's leader and symbol, and has continued to plot attacks against our country and our friends and allies. The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda. Yet his death does not mark the end of our effort. There is no doubt that al-Qaeda will continue to pursue attacks against us. We must and we will remain vigilant at home and abroad.
On Thursday, Pakistan Foreign Secretary Salman Bashir again dismissed allegation his country's secret services had links to Al-Qaeda and said the investigation into the presence of bin Laden in Abbottabad would reveal what failures there were. Mr. Obama's decision, revealed during an interview with CBS Television's 60-minute program, prompted a mixed reaction from U.S. politicians, some of whom were shown the photos. Steny Hoyer, the number 2 Democrat in the House of Representatives, said he shared the president's view. In my opinion, there is no end served by releasing a picture of someone who has been killed, he said, quoted by CNN. But senior Republican Senator Lindsey Graham had said the decision was a mistake. I know bin Laden is dead, he said, but the best way to protect and defend our interests overseas is to prove that fact to the rest of the world. I'm afraid the decision made today by President Obama will unnecessarily prolong this debate. The decision came as U.S. officials began to comb through computer hard drives, mobile phones, and USB sticks found during the U.S. Navy SEALs raid on the compound in Abbottabad where bin Laden was living. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder said Washington expected to add more names to its terrorism watch list as a result of data seized in the raid. 2 telephone numbers and €500 were also found stitched into bin Laden's clothing. There is a case he needed to make a quick getaway. Critics have raised concerns about the legality of the operation after the U.S. revised its account to acknowledge bin Laden was unarmed when shot dead. But Mr. Holder said bin Laden was a lawful military target whose killing was an act of national self-defense. It was a kill or capture mission. He made no attempt to surrender. 3 other men and 1 woman died in Monday's assault, while one of the Al-Qaeda leader's wives were injured. The Pakistani military is holding the survivors of the U.S. Special Forces operation. They are being kept at secret locations in the cities of Rawalpindi and Islamabad. The 54-year-old bin Laden, America's most wanted man, was buried at sea from a U.S. aircraft carrier, says U.S. officials. Mr. Obama, who monitored the progress of the raid from the White House, saw his approval rating jump 11 points to 57% in a New York Times CBS News poll on Wednesday. The compound where the operation took place is just a few hundred meters from the Pakistan Military Academy. In unusually frank remarks, CIA Director Leon Panetta told Times Magazine it was decided that any effort to work with the Pakistanis could jeopardize the mission. They might alert the targets. Pakistan rejected the U.S. suggestion that it could not have been trusted in advance. Some U.S. lawmakers are calling for billions of dollars in aid for Pakistan to be reduced or stopped altogether. Barack Obama to visit Ground Zero. U.S. President Barack Obama is to visit Ground Zero, the site of the 9/11 attacks in New York, later on Thursday, 4 days after U.S. forces killed Al-Qaeda head Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. Bin Laden was believed to be the mastermind of 9/11 attacks in 2001 and many others. Mr. Obama will lay a wreath in memory of the victims and speak to relatives. The visit comes a day after the U.S. leader said graphic photographs of bin Laden's body would not be made public. The Al-Qaeda leader was killed by U.S. Special Forces in northern Pakistan on Monday. His body was then buried at sea from U.S. aircraft carrier. The Pakistani military on Thursday admitted shortcomings for failing to locate bin Laden and has said it will launch an investigation. But it also warned it would review cooperation with the U.S. if there were any more unilateral raids such as the one that killed bin Laden. Moment of reflection in New York. Mr. Obama will meet the families of those who died when the World Trade Center collapsed and those who tried to save them. He wants to meet with them and share with them this important and significant moment, a bittersweet moment, I think, for many families of the victims, White House spokesman Jay Carney said. However, Mr. Obama is not scheduled to make a speech. Some press reporters in New York says the Obama administration is very sensitive to accusations that the president is politicizing his visit. Thousands of people gathered at Ground Zero on Sunday night, waving flags and climbing street signs as news emerged that bin Laden had been killed. Ground Zero is now a building site with construction scheduled for completion in 2013. As well as several office towers, the area will also house the National September 11 Memorial Museum, which comprises a museum, waterfalls, and a park. Mr. Obama has decided not to publish photos of bin Laden's body, saying the images could pose a national security risk. It's not important for us to make sure that very graphic photos of somebody who was shot in the head are not floating around as an incitement to additional violence, as a propaganda tool. That's not who we are, Mr. Obama said. Press correspondent says there are mixed feelings in New York about the decision not to publish the pictures. While some want proof that it was bin Laden who was killed, for others the photos would reopen painful memories. Meanwhile, recriminations about Pakistan's failure to arrest bin Laden continue. On Thursday, the head of Pakistan's diplomatic services, Salman Bashir, again dismissed allegations his country's secret services had links to Al-Qaeda and said the investigation into the presence of bin Laden in Abbottabad would reveal what failures there were.